Yo, what it do, GG Nation, GG Legion, it's your fella again, Strauss man, the GG. Yo, another rumor, E3 is rampant. Gonna get your E3 pod, sorry, not prod, pod, this week, I think. I think we're gonna do our prediction show this week. E3 is about 2 weeks. I think it's June 12th, I believe it starts. What? Rumor is Square Enix is to reveal a PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy game at E3 2021. There has been more information on this. We're going to go in detail. This is PlayStation Universe.com. They were the first one to leak this story. I think this was in Friday. This story broke. And then I waited a little bit because I want to see if more info came out, and it did. More info came out about it, what it's most likely going to be. But in this article specifically, go check it out for yourself, PlayStation Universe. It is awesome website about, they do rumors about all gaming PlayStation news if you want to go check out. But they expect that there's going to be one more major Final Fantasy announcement. Plus Eidos game as well. The Tomb Raider studio. They're thinking I mean, that could be Deus Ex or something like that. That's what one game came to mind, was Deus Ex or a new Tomb Raider game. That was probably, it's going to be one of those two, I think. But there's supposed to be an Eidos Montreal game as well. But this article specifically is rumored that it's going to be a PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy game. Including with, Final Fantasy 16. Endwalker just got announced for Final Fantasy 14, another expansion. And Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So probably Remake 2 might still actually be here too. Sounds like, Square Enix is going to bring it. But they believe it's an exclusive Final Fantasy title. I guess this is a famous leaker that has done this before, and he was right about Final Fantasy 7 Integrate and stuff like that. Initially, what I thought, as we're going to tab over to find out what this is, I was thinking it wasn't Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, because they specifically said it wasn't going to be any remake or anything like that. It was a new game, a new title, they specifically said in this article. So I was, okay, and then I was trying to think in my head, Crisis Core Remake, but then again, that doesn't fit. Final Fantasy VII stuff is hot right now. So they probably don't want to do that. They don't want to go through that at all. So I was like, okay, a new game. I'm like, what could it be? Maybe Final Fantasy 17? I'm like, nah, that's probably too early. Especially if Final Fantasy 17 was a MMO stuff. MMO, they just announced a new expansion for Endwalker for Final Fantasy 14, so I don't think that. I think too soon. Final Fantasy 16 was announced, like 6-7 months ago, right? It wasn't that long ago. They have a habit of doing this, though. Square, they'll announce like 3 or 4 Final Fantasies at a time, but no. But those were the things that were running through my head, so I was like, I don't know. But we found out more. Found out some more from a French leaker. This is NeoGAF. You can go check it out in NeoGAF. But supposedly the game is called Final Fantasy Origins. Exclusively on PS5, coming to PC later. Developed by Team Ninja. It is a Souls-like game. Most likely announced at E3. A lot of people already knew of this game existing. Insiders, the gaming insiders. Demo coming this summer if everything goes as planned. It's called Stranger in Paradise. It takes place somewhere in or adjacent to the world of the first Final Fantasy game. Has multiple difficulty settings. Don't think Neo with Final Fantasy skin. It's its own thing with very different systems. Don't expect top-notch graphics. It's the darkest and most violent game in the franchise. So very interesting, and I guess this is the French website and stuff like that. Wow. A Souls-like Team Ninja Neo type game, which they said don't expect it to be. It's its own thing. Very interesting, and obviously this just got updated recently. So it didn't have this. Some of this stuff is new, like the Stranger in Paradise. Name of the demo takes place in the world of the first game, so this is even new to me. Multiple difficulty settings, so it could have that Code Vein possibility. Shout out to Elo and Chad. Not the biggest fans of difficulty, but hey, you might have opportunity to make easier settings for you. I know they're not Soulsborne. I guarantee though, shout out to the Beard Wonder Chad and shout out to my boy Elo. The narrative is gonna flip. They're gonna be like, oh, it's Souls games are great because there's a Final Fantasy one now. Very interesting. Something I never would have ever suspected being put together. A Souls-like Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy 1 expired. I don't know. I was going to guess that we were going to play as multiple different Final Fantasy characters. Maybe make your own character, like in very much like Souls related. I was thinking Neo, to be honest with you. But they're saying it's its own thing. Very cool. Another PlayStation 5 exclusive. The interesting part is, sounds like this game was being made for a while, so that graphically it's not going to push anything. But it's a PS5 game. It's going to be a PS5 game. Wow. And I was gonna harp on Elo and Chad there about the Souls like oh, we're going to love it now because it's a Final Fantasy game. But hey, multiple difficulty settings. It's going to be its own thing. I've been playing through Code Vein, very close to Platinum in Code Vein. And that also kind of has its own difficulty settings. It's very much an easier version, a super easier version of Dark Souls. But hey, that's how the game was intended to be. Not all these games are intended to be super hard. I know that's the vibe that Dark Souls and the Souls-like games give out for a lot of people recently. And I know, and I'm not gonna harp on, I'm not gonna hate on people that don't like challenge. It's not a knock on anybody that does not like a challenge or anything like that. I want to specify that. Just teasing my bros a little bit. Let me have some fun. Teasing my bros a little bit. I understand a lot of you work the 9 to 5. Got a lot of things going on. You come home, you don't want to be stuck on a boss for 2.5 hours, 2 weeks, 2 months, yada, yada, yada. Some of you just want to get through the game and enjoy the story. This is going to be interesting, though. This is very interesting. Another Final Fantasy game. Sounds like Square Enix is going to bring it at their E3 show. Very exciting news. If you're a Square fan like myself, should be pretty damn excited. I know a lot of you are jumping through the roof, Elo and Chad. But hey, I've been your fellow Straussman, the GG. Make sure you smash the hell out of the like button. Comment down below. What do you make of this? A Soulsborne Final Fantasy game. Interesting. Or at least has Soulsborne mechanics. You guys slightly excited? Final Fantasy Origins is a real thing? We'll find out in a couple weeks here. Let me know what you actually want the new Final Fantasy game to be. Do you want to be a remake of Final Fantasy 8, 9? Do you want Crisis Core? Do you want something different? Maybe more higher-res versions of the current older Final Fantasy like the Super Nintendo ones? Do you want Chrono Trigger? Something different? Interesting. Sounds like they're going completely new with this, and I like it. It's interesting. New games are dope, too, and this is going to be interesting. It sounds like there might be a new Tomb Raider, a new Deus Ex on the way as well, which is interesting. Sounds like their show is going to be pretty packed, and it's going to have a lot of information. We might even see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, even just a snippet of it. But hey, I'm excited. This kind of got me hyped again. E3's around the corner, and I was having the feeling that a lot of them are going to be lackluster, but I don't know. It looks like at least Square is going to bring it. But yo, I'm outie.